Hey guys, our topic for today is file operations. Node.js has a built-in module to handle file operations, which is called FS, meaning file system. File operations such as creating a file or reading a file or deleting a file and a lot more can be done using this module. So let's get started. Let's first import this module. And since this is a built-in module, we don't need to install this module. Let's first write a file with some contents. And for this, FS has a method called writeFile. And the first argument would be the actual file path. I'm giving a relative path here. If there's no file which exists, it would automatically create a file and then write contents to it. And the second parameter would be the file contents. Sample file contents. And the third one is file options, which is an optional argument. And the fourth one is our callback. If there's any error, let's throw the error. Else, let's output saying file write success. Now let's run this file using the command node and then the file name. So if we see here, the file write success has been printed to the terminal, and there's a file called sample.txt which is relative to this folder. And let's view this contents of the file. Yeah, so we got our contents to the file written to this file called sample.txt. Now let's read contents of a file. Read contents of a file. And for this, we had a method called readFile, wherein the first argument would be the file path. So again, I'm giving my relative path here. Let's read the contents of this file called sample.txt. The second option would be, again for this, there is file options, which is an optional argument. And finally our callback. So if there's any error, let's throw the error. Else, let's output the data. Let's run this again. Node fs.js. Okay, if we see, it has actually outputted something called buffer. But if we see the contents of this file, it has some text format. But if we see it over here, it has some format which is not understandable by humans. So the reason being is, by default, if you read a file, the output would be in buffer format. And for this, we would explicitly say the file encoding format should be of UTF-8. Now let's run this again and let's see the output. Yeah, now if we see here, it actually printed the text output which we wanted in this format. And this is how you'll read the contents of the file. Now let's append content to a file. Append content to a file. And we can do this using this method called append file, wherein the first argument would be the relative path, the file path. And again, I'm giving my relative path here. And then the content which you want to append. Appending some test content is my content. And the third one would finally be our callback. If error, throw error, else let me print success message with file contents have been appended. Okay, let's run this again. right now if you see, the file content is just sample file contents. Now let's run this file. Okay, we can see a success message here saying that file contents have been appended. Now let's view the contents of the file. Yeah, if you see here, these file contents are appended. And this is how we'll append content to a file. Now we have completed how to write content to a file, how to read content to a file, how to append content to a file. And now let's see how to delete a file. So for that, we have a method called unlink, wherein the first argument would be the file path. Again, here I'm giving my relative path. And then let's see if there's an error. Let's throw the error. Else console. Let me print something saying that file deleted successfully. Let's run this again. Node fs.js. If you see here, it got successfully printed this message saying file deleted successfully, and you can see here that the file has gone. So the topics which we covered till now in this series are writing content to file, reading contents to the file, reading content from the file, sorry. And what else? Appending content to the file. And deleting file. So, and this would be the first part of this FS module playlist. Let's actually come with a new video on this series with some other methods like renaming files or accessing file permissions and modifying them, and a lot more. And for now, bye. See you soon.